And now the latest around the wide world of tropics. Tropical Weather Bulletin for July 17th. Well, it's a whole lot of nothing out there again. The remnants of Cristina are the most interesting, exciting thing going on around the world, and you know we're struggling when we're talking about that being the case. Elsewhere, there's nothing on the radar at all that we can attach a name to on day 199 of the year so far. Day 47 of the Atlantic hurricane season, we've got a 10% chance for a tropical wave that's currently starting its journey across the main development region, not likely to form. In the eastern Pacific, the remnants of Cristina, hardly anything left of them by the way, near Hawaii, and 20% chance for an area of interest that's moving on towards the west and will curve towards the northwest later. In the western Pacific, a 10% chance for that area that we've been monitoring for a few days, passing Guam right now, and one or two hints that it could be a weak tropical cyclone before reaching northern Luzon. In the southern hemisphere, that system that nearly became a subtropical cyclone is on the wane, now down to a 10% chance. Looking at the satellite imagery, you can see the area of interest in the Atlantic somewhere over there, emerging off the coast of Africa. General tropical activity there, not much of organised in the way of organised development, so it's doubtful, as I've mentioned, that we'll see anything get conjured up out of that rather messy picture over there. In the Gulf of Mexico, things looking fairly quiet, although a significant flow up there actually off the coast of Louisiana, but nothing in terms of tropical cyclone generation. And what's left of Cristina, you can just about see it over there. Not looking very good at all. It's literally just a cloud pattern at this point, and a 20% chance for that wave off to the right hand side of your screen when it enters that yellow circle, and it will likely turn northwest. In the western Pacific, again, there's that wave there just on the right hand side of that circle there, well to the south of Guam, closer to Chuuk in Micronesia actually, and it will probably start a movement towards the west-northwest following somewhere near the centre line of where you would draw that cross section of that oval. And in the southern hemisphere, it's been pretty to look at, but there is that still extratropical cyclone, which we're now down to a 10%, and it'll probably be 0% very soon. The Indian Ocean still quiet and devoid of tropical activity, but same old really, usual monsoonal pattern, mainly in southern India today. Sea surface temperatures continue to warm across the board really. The eastern Pacific, a few pockets of 30 degrees, expanding along the coast of Mexico and up the Gulf of California, quite far actually, impressively so. The Atlantic also very impressive. The Gulf of Mexico, a significant trail of 30-degree waters extending from Louisiana right round to the western coast of Florida and the Keys near 32 degrees Celsius. Same too for the western islands of the Bahamas and the southern coast of Cuba. Very warm waters across the Atlantic. And in the Indian Ocean, very much the same as what we were looking at yesterday. One or two little areas of 30-degree waters, but no tropical storms to enter that zone. And in the Western Pacific, again, 30-degree isotherm extending over a very large part of the Philippine Sea and the South China Sea. The big difference between those two areas is that the 26 degrees waters extends to a much greater depth in the open Western Pacific than it does in the South China Sea. That's usually why you get the strongest storms out there. Sea surface temperature anomalies look like this, well above average in the South China Sea and in one or two locations off the Baja California Peninsula. In the Atlantic, the main hotspots are off the northern coast of Cuba near the Bahamas, and a little area there in the centre of the main development region, and of course the Gulf Stream, which is much more prone to fluctuations. On this day, on July 17th, 2005, you might remember this one, that 2 Category 5s active on this day. Emily, which was peaking right about now, and Haitang, which was just about to lose its Category 5 status after being at that intensity for about 12 to 18 hours in the last 24. The remnants of Dennis were also still there in its ghostly form, just about to reach the Great Lakes. Of course, a historic day in 2005 certainly dwarfs what we're seeing this year, even though we're ahead of in terms of named storms in the Atlantic. But there we are. Nothing on the radar. The next name in the Atlantic in this Rather surreal hurricane season in a different way is Gonzalo, followed by Hannah. In the Eastern Pacific, the next name is Douglas, followed by Elida. In the Central Pacific, the next name on list 1 is Hone. In the Western Pacific, we're still waiting for Sinlaku, and we could be waiting quite a while looking at models, followed by Hagupit. And in the North Indian Ocean, the next name on list 1 is Gatti. In the Southern Hemisphere, which you might want to take bets on maybe that area getting a storm before the Westpac, Imogen is next in the Australian region if you fancy it, followed by Joshua. In the Southwest Indian Ocean, the first names Alicia and Bongoyo, and in the South Pacific, next up is Yolanda. That's all for now. We'll have another tropical weather bulletin soon. Check out our new look cyclone tracker on the Force 13 website for the latest up-to-date information. You can also find us, of course, on our YouTube channel, search Force 13, and also on Facebook and Twitter, Force 13 at Force 13 on Twitter for the latest updates. You can also help the project become even better by becoming an Ultimate Fan on YouTube. To see the full list of Ultimate Fan benefits and to join, visit youtube.com/Force13/join. With a special thanks to our top supporters this month. You can also check out our growing merch store so you can show Force 13's colours wherever you go. You can also find a link to our Discord server underneath this video in the description.